Speaking of travel, do we feel are there? Do you feel like you can get the same thing, and if so, how? From the same thing that you get from traveling,
Mhm.
do you feel like you can access that same stuff right here? And if so, how? Like how?
Yeah, I think so. But I think it takes a little bit of like a lot of introspection, I guess, to like really break down what makes traveling or particular countries like unique from the one that you're living in. Um, but I've been able to replicate like that vacation feeling here.
Mm,
But like I said, like vacation or like going to a different country is essential for that very reason.
mm,
So I could take back some things that I learned from different countries and apply it to my life. For example, just like emphasizing being outside, connecting with friends, or eating clean food, like different things that we take for granted, or different types of food, like salmon jerky, like like
mm,
stuff like that,
yeah,
Um,
yeah.
and I think going back to what I said about like that different part of my brain being activated, like though I'm still like like still based when I'm in different states or different countries, there's still that part of my brain that's like able to almost breathe in a sense, like breathe in a different way, like creativity wise.
Mm,
And so when I'm in a different country or state and I'm still in like that work mode, I'm able to like come up with different compositions because I'm playing off of this unique new environment. It's kind of
mm,
like the honeymoon phase of like learning anything.
mm,
Like first time learning the camera is kind of replicated in that. The first time like I don't know cooking is kind of replicated in that.
mm,
Just like just the newness of being in a new environment. I don't know.
mm,
Yeah.
Yeah.
mm,
And I think you can replicate everything but the optics of it. You
mm,
know what I'm saying? Like you can't get this exact scenery, you know what I'm saying? But I think you can get the exhilaration of the culture. You know what I'm saying? Right where you are, if you're willing to, and a lot of this, I mean, it's nuanced because I think as black people, we've tried to do this and it hasn't been received. But I think what has to happen is cultures have to come together and respect each other and value what each other brings to the table.
mm.
You know what I'm saying? Which I think that's forced upon you in other countries. You have to, otherwise you're not gonna survive.
You mean it's forced upon you as a traveler?
Yeah,
Okay,
if you
okay.
don't eat their food,
Mm-hmm.
like you have to eat their food.
Mm,
I mean, you know what I'm saying? You have to um, accept their accommodations with respect to the water pressure, you know,
mm-hmm.
and wherever you're
Mm-hmm.
living at,
Mm-hmm.
or how to flush the toilet. You know what I'm saying? Like
Mm-hmm.
a lot of these things are forced upon you, and so it is what it is. But here in America, they're not forced on you. You have to choose it. You know
Mm-hmm.
what I'm saying? And I think black people in general, not all of collectively, but we've chosen or tried to reach across the aisle to different cultures, but it haven't been
Reciprocated.
reciprocated.
Yeah.
You know what I'm
Okay.
saying? But I think whenever it is reciprocated, you'll get that same sense of euphoria you get from traveling to other countries. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Because they inevitably they're going to expose you to their customs,
Mm-hmm.
whether they realize it or not. That's what they're doing. You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? What they eat, what they, how they view certain things. Like I think it can happen, but it's not organic.
You know what's interesting about what you're saying too? I'm flipping in my mind like the picture, right? So I'm imagining what you're saying. I can get that here in America because it's so multicultural.
Right, right.
But then if I grew up in, I don't know,
China,
Egypt,
yeah,
China,
yeah.
who they're depending on the tourists to come, but
Mm.
primarily they just deal with their own culture,
Mm-hmm.
so they're not forced to learn other things, you know.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I just wonder what that experience is like for them. And not that we can answer that, but for us, we do have that advantage. Like you're saying, we have access to so many different cultures and this, that, and the other. So that is one of the benefits of being here in the U.S. or a lot of Western countries. It's just that there is a lot more diversity, and so the option is there, or the ability is there.
Mm-hmm.
But then you go some places where that's just not a given,
Mm-hmm.
you know.
Yeah.
So I wonder, what are some things that you think are exclusive to travel? Like, what are some things that you think if you didn't travel, you know,
That's a great question, man. I'm gonna go spiritual. I think there's an aspect of God that you cannot know unless you travel.
really? See, now that leads to another question.
But that's the truth, though.
But it leads to another question.